Good evening, everyone. We'll call to order the Merrillville Town Council meeting for today, Tuesday, April 13th at 6:30 p.m. Please rise for the invocation and a moment of silence.
Let's pray. Oh God, our Father, thank you for the privileges that you give to us in this life. Father, our prayer this evening, again, is for this community, for the lives of men and women, children, old men, old women, all of us, Father, to be blessed by the decisions that be made here tonight, your guidance, your direction. Father, your peace upon us. Thank you for the privilege of being a part of this community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Don and Richard, would you lead us in the pledge tonight, please? Both veterans.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk Treasurer, could you call the roll, please?
Sure. Councilman Spann.
Present.
Councilman Hardaway.
Here.
Councilman Minchuk.
Here.
Councilwoman Uzelak.
Here.
Councilman Pettit. Councilman White.
Here.
Councilman Bella.
Here.
6 present.
6 present. Thank you. Moving on tonight to petitions, communications, acknowledgements, and remonstrations. We have a letter from the Town Engineering Administrator endorsing Core Construction's recommendation to approve the payment of application number 18 for various vendors for work completed at the Merrillville Community Center. Mr. King.
Yes, President Bella, the March 2021 billing for the Dean and Barbara White Community Center has been reviewed by myself and the staff here with the town. We do concur with Core Construction's recommendations on approving payment to the vendors listed below here in the amount of $472,147.48.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion for approval.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Spann, second by Mr. Hardaway for approval of application number 18. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Our second item tonight is a letter from the Town Engineering Administrator recommending approval of contractors for the 2021 paving program. Mr. King.
Yes, on March 19th, public bids were open for our 2021 townwide street resurfacing and repair program. We had 2 bidders, Reith Riley Construction and also Milestone Contractors North. Milestone Contractors was the low bidder at the cost of $3,474,254.02. And I recommend we award the contract to Milestone Contractors North as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder.
Thank you, Mr. King. Is Milestone here tonight? No? Okay.
Where are they located?
Griffith, it's formerly Walsh and Kelly.
Oh,
They
okay.
were
Okay. All right.
taken over by Milestone earlier this year.
I think they're headquartered in Lafayette now.
Yeah.
Milestone.
Right, yeah. Okay, thank you.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Mrs. Uselak?
Mm-hmm.
Second by Mr. Spann. For approval of Milestone Contractors North, Inc. in the amount of $3,474,254.02 for the 2021 townwide street resurfacing program. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. King.
Thank you.
See, one quick question. When will they actually start paving? How soon are we going to get going with this year? We have a lot of streets to do.
We're ready to go. We'll have a pre-construction meeting for the local paving program earlier next week, so we could start, early as the end of next week.
So asphalt plants are rolling
So
now?
asphalt plants are getting fired up right now,
Okay, good.
and we'll be ready to go.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Moving on, council, to the consent agenda. Tonight, we have the accounts payable voucher approval for April 13th, and also the approval of the town council meeting minutes from March 23rd, 2021. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Uselak. And who was the second? Mr. Hardaway, second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Standing and special committees, budget and finance, Mr. Hardaway.
Thank you, Mr. President. Couple of things. There will be a workshop on April the 27th at 5:30 PM to discuss the items that we just discussed prior from our financial advisor. And secondly, later on in the meeting, there will be an ordinance 21-08 pertaining to the American Rescue Plan as we start to formulate a plan for having a plan in place by mid-May so that we can start receiving that money and be accountable for it.
Good.
That concludes my report.
Thank you. Is there a report for Mr. Pettit for council affairs? Pat?
No, sir.
Okay. Public Works and Utilities, Mr. Minchuk.
I have nothing at this time. I'll just yield to Kevin when it comes his turn to speak.
Thank you. Elections, Public Relations, and Town Beautification, Mr. Reardon. Do you have anything for Sean?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Environmental Affairs, Mrs. Uselak.
Yes, I'm going to talk about the COVID virus. In the parking lot of Roosevelt School, they are giving the vaccination shots. And from what I hear, they've been giving out, I think, 2,000 a day. People from all over Lake County are going there. We only had one pass away last weekend from the COVID virus, and the weekend before were two that passed away. So that's my report on the COVID virus with the environmental affairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs.
Mr.
Uselak.
President?
Mr. White.
Yes, could I add to Councilwoman's environmental affairs? I talked to Matt about a week ago because I told him about dead trees in the Berkeley Village.
Yes.
And I think he went out there and he looked at it. He identified the trees that were dying, what the species those trees were. And some of those things, Matt, maybe when you get a chance to talk about it, some of those trees did get hit pretty hard by the ash borer guys, for a better lack of words. And it looks pretty like a lot of dead trees, like 10 or maybe 8 dead trees out there. So I just want to bring that to the Environmental Affairs Committee so that we can see if there's anything. I know he had talked about maybe, and then we'll have to talk about it a little while, excuse me, down the line, because I think it fits under infrastructure as well. So I think maybe that's something we'll have to talk to the Budget and Finance Committee to see if any of the American Rescue Plan dollars may be used to help them, those homes out, because most of the trees that are dead are on private property. And actually, Matt did a really great job identifying that some of the properties out there actually kind of runs in the easements. And so I'll let him explain it a little bit more when he comes up. So I don't have anything else to add to environmental. Thank you.
Thank you. Personnel Policy and Employee Benefits, Mr. Hardaway.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next week, April the 20th at 5:30, we're going to have an Executive Personnel Committee meeting. I'd like for all the council people to attend if possible.
What day? I'm sorry.
Next Tuesday,
At 5:30?
April the 20th at 5:30. Here, yes, ma'am. That's all I have, Mr. President. Oh, no, it's not. We have to talk about I forgot to talk about the custodian, the janitor.
Okay,
What's our pleasure with that? Are we looking to hire this guy? The custodian?
I didn't know where we were with the hiring process with that. It's not on the agenda, right?
I thought they'd had a conversation, and where is she at?
Pat, could you help?
Linda? Where are we at in that process?
This will be Linda's first trip to the microphone.
It will be. Hey.
All right.
So the comparison was sent to the Budget and Finance Committee. There's two out of three that have gotten back to me, saying that it was a good idea, it's approved. I haven't heard from Sean yet. I don't know if it was discussed at the committee meeting prior to the council meeting? Was it?
No,
Okay. So if it's agreed on, it would actually be cheaper to hire a maintenance worker for the town permanently as opposed to contracting out to a cleaning company. Because right now, we are using Public Works employees to do maintenance work at Town Hall. When, especially during the summer, fall, it's their busy season. I can't barely get anybody out here. When we're contracting through our people right now, he is not allowed to change light bulbs, do spackle, paint, just small maintenance work. And so we did a comparison on the cost, and it will actually save us money to hire him full-time with benefits, as opposed to contracting out.
have we identified this individual?
It's the current person that we have working here through a contracting company.
Okay,
So he's our cleaning person right now,
okay.
but he is not permitted to do deep cleaning, help with maintenance issues, stuff like that through the contracting company we have.
What I would like to do is to set up a meeting with him
Okay?
and talk to him and with the personnel committee, if that's possible,
Oh, that's very
so
possible.
that we can make a great decision as to the person that we hire.
Yep, no, that's no problem. Just
Alright.
email me and let me know.
Okay, we'll do that. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll come up with a date for that.
Can I?
Thank you,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and then one more thing, Mr. President, is that we talked about the vaccines, as far as employees getting vaccines. And after some conversations and growing pains with this thing, I think that the best thing for us to do as a council, rather than making it mandatory, is that I would recommend that we just strongly encourage all employees to get one, if possible. And I'm definitely adamantly opposed to making it mandatory because, we're all adults and we all know what's good for us. So I think that if we just make it, if we encourage our employees, I think that'll go a long ways to showing that we're not a dictatorship. We're concerned about everybody.
Would you like to make that in the form of a motion?
That's my motion, Mr. President, is
Okay.
that we encourage all employees to get the vaccine and that it not be mandated that they get it, just strongly encouraged.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Hardaway, to encourage all town employees to get the vaccinations. Second, by Mr. White.
Yes.
Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. The motion carries, Mr. Hardaway.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Hardaway, do you think we can do the, since you already called an executive session for April 20th, if we can discuss the custodian position then?
That'll be a great time to do it.
That's an executive, okay,
That'll be a great time to do it.
great. So Linda will set that up. Thank you. Public Safety, Mr. Minchuk.
Yes, the Public Safety Committee, along with the FOP, has come to a final agreement on the collective bargaining agreement. Both sides have agreed to a final presentation, or final decision. Our lawyer went ahead and conducted it up for us. It looks very nice. Both sides are in agreement. I went ahead and emailed that agreement to the rest of the council, and I've got hard copies coming from Marge and Don. We'll have a chance to review that, and in our next meeting, we'll have a vote on it.
Very good, thank you.
And if any council members have any issues or anything, please reach out to me, and I'll make sure they get corrected.
Does that conclude your report?
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Jeff. Moving on to economic development, is there a report for this committee, Pat?
No formal report, but what I can inform the council is that professional staff continues to meet with a host of realtor brokers as well as developers who continue to come to town. There's abundant activity townwide, and anticipate a formal report in the next 2 to 4 weeks.
Very good, thank you. Parks and Recreation, Mrs. Uzelak.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a report on a park on Hendricks Place and Route 30. You could see it right from Route 30. It's the Adam Benjamin sign, it's the Adam Benjamin Park, and someone had removed the legs from the sign. So if they sawed them off or however they did it, I don't know, but they are going to be replaced. And then the Curtis Park, we are going to go ahead and put in the play equipment and all of the other stuff involved. That'll be $30,199, and then for the rubber on the flooring would be $27,900, and the landscaping equipment with the stone and the gravel, that comes to $9,000. So the total so far will be $69,000 on the Curtis Park, and that will get started around May, the middle of May. And that's all I have on parks. Thank you.
Do we need council action, Mrs. Uzelak, for approving those funds, or has that been done already?
I don't think so, because these aren't bids. Jan, do we need council approval on that? Because this has been in the making for about 2 years now.
We never have in the past, and Councilman Pettit had approved and picked the option that he wanted for Curtis Park.
Yeah, and that is in his ward.
And that comes out of the park cumulative capital fund.
Comes out of our park department fund, and we've
Mr. Smetana,
never had a
do we need
motion
to spend
before.
$69,000?
It's a total of $69,000.
Mrs. Uzelak, if you don't mind, would you just make a motion authorizing
Sure.
that this expenditure of $69,000? That's quite a bit of money,
Definitely.
I'd like the entire council to
Okay, I at this time will make a motion for Curtis Park to be rehabbed in the sum of the total of $69,000.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Uzelak, second by Mr. Hardaway, to expend $69,000 for Curtis Park improvements, has been planned for quite some time, I believe.
2 years.
2 years.
Almost. Okay, thank you. And that's all I have at this time.
We'll take a vote on that, though, to make sure.
Oh,
All-
yes.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye,
Aye opposed. The motion carries, Mrs. Uzelak.
thank you.
Abandoned and blighted properties, Mr. Hardaway.
Thank you, Mr. President. Later on, under Director's Report, Vicki Bonnell will come before us and make an announcement about a workshop that we're going to do on the 27th.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to get back to you. Yeah, but Vicki will come before us for the report. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Dean and Barbara White Community Center, Mr. Minchuk tonight.
This is the point where I usually say, go ahead, Sean, but I can't do that tonight.
No, you can't.
No. Because my center is going very well. I'm extremely happy with the progress we've made so far. Of course, we have some growing pains that we're going to be getting through, and we'll be marching on. As far as construction left over, the concession stand press box walls are up at this point. It is going to be a very good-sized structure for the field there. It is also one of the last biggest pieces we have left that are not sponsored. As you guys hear in Sean's reports all the time, he gives you the sponsor for each piece of everything. But this is the one piece of sponsorship we have left is the concession stand. So anybody out there that would like to know somebody or anything that could be related to a sponsorship for the concession stand, that would be great. Hint, hint, newspaper people, that'd be great. Moving along, we have the last piece after the concession stand goes, and once everything's kind of settled at the center, is when we're going to start our trail and our bridge going through. It'll be connecting Turkey Creek through the wooded area there to the center. This way, kids from Turkey Creek can walk through the trail, bicycle through the trail. It'll be a pedestrian trail, so they can get to the center. We're pretty excited about that. We do have a sponsor for that as well, which is going to be Horizon Bank. Other than that, I know we have more sponsorships, but we also wanted to do something more on a lower level. Not everybody owns a giant corporation and can do a large sponsorship. We do have several brick sponsorships inside the building that's open to anybody and everybody. So if you want your name on the wall, or if you want to put a little bit of words of encouragement for the people inside the center, feel free to stop by, get an application. A brick is only $100. We'll have it put up for you. It's kind of a vinyl decal that goes up on the wall, and that's available for everybody. So feel free to stop by. If you haven't stopped by and checked it out yet, please do. The place speaks for itself. And that is all I have at this time, sir.
Thank you. Moving on to special projects, Mr. Hardaway.
Thank you, Mr. President. First off, we had our first study circle sessions today. I know in our group, I think they went very well. I think everybody participated, and in polling everybody, nobody had a complaint. So I think everything went rather smoothly, and I look forward to the next 4 weeks of going through this, because I think it's going to be something that's going to be good for us. And when we walk away from this, I think we are all going to be much better people for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then secondly, the birthday committee, we continue to meet every Thursday at 3 p.m. at the museum, going up to our May the 22nd event down at the museum. So if anybody has anything that they would like to donate, anything that they would like to see for the May 22nd event, please let me know. And then as soon as we finish May the 22nd, we'll go right into the August the 14th event, planning for that. And so we're excited about it, and we're just looking for a good time. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Mr. White.
Yes, I was wondering if there could be any additions to the Special Projects Committee from citizens?
If there be what?
If there would be an opportunity for citizens, an additional citizens to participate in the Special Projects Committee?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, what are you talking about, for the birthday committee?
Yes, and the Diversity Committee. And the reason I'm saying is actually, he's a Merrillville resident. Actually, he's sitting back there now. His name is Mr. Fletcher. And I had a conversation with him. I don't know if he's still interested in it, but he definitely said that that's something that he wanted to be involved in. So,
For which one?
I think it's the Diversity Committee.
For the diversity, Councilman White,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be, once, we got to get our employees through it. The diversity training is for employees first.
Okay.
And at some point, if we need citizens, then we will ask for citizens to apply, and then we'll have, they'll be interviewed by Dr. Lackey and his group.
That'd be fine, Mr. Chair. Additionally, would that opportunity also be available for the town's birthday committee?
If you got somebody that's been around for a long time, yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. No more questions on that.
And then also, Mr. Hardaway, you know, that committee, you have other members of your committee are other council members, right?
For which one?
On your Special Projects Committee. Leonard, aren't you a member of that?
Yeah, Leonard's he's on there.
I'm sorry, I missed it. I didn't know I was part of that committee.
Yep, nope, you're
Mr.
part.
Reardon, could you send a new list to Mr. White of the committees
Thank you.
he's currently on?
Okay. I
Thank you.
appreciate-
Who else is on your
appreciate that,
committee?
and, Yes, again, it's just, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, Mr.
No,
President.
it's okay.
Mr. Fletcher did reach out to me. As you can see, he's been coming through to here.
Yeah, I
quite
talked to
some
him
time.
last week, or 2 weeks ago, too, after the meeting.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I mean, even in the snow, he came here. He trudged through the snow to get in here, so he's definitely interested in what's going on in the town. So if he's still interested in being part of a citizen that's part of the, want to be a part of our committee. Just one more thing, too, Mr. President. I'd like to say, maybe I need to ask Jan this question, actually. Are we having a 4th of July parade this year, or?
That's something the council has to talk about, you know.
Okay, that's something we'll talk about.
Yep.
No more questions on that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Keep talking, Mr. White, because
Okay.
we're at your Lake County Solid Waste Management District, and you are our town representative. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, sir. I did receive an email from Executive Director Jeanette Romano, and she sent out a notice saying that we were to conduct a Zoom meeting on Thursday, April 15th at 6 p.m. to review and make recommendations concerning community recycling grants. Of course, I'll be definitely involved in that because I want to make sure Merrillville always get their portion of, might want to even ask them for, hey, can we get a bump up in the raise there a little bit? So I will be attending that meeting to make a determination for the entire county to make sure everybody's in compliance with the recycling grants committee's compliance. Thank you.
Good. Northern Indiana Regional Planning Commission, our representative is Mr. Hardaway.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our next meeting is Thursday, April the 15th at 9 a.m.
Thank you. Stormwater Management Resources, our director is Matt Lake.
I just want to report that earlier today, the Indiana House voted 58-40 to pass Senate Bill 389. Essentially, that eliminates protection of Class 1 wetlands. These are wetlands that are considered the lowest quality, but are the most prevalent in our area, and they serve to provide stormwater storage and treatment, so they are pretty important and vital as a natural resource. It also significantly reduces the protection of Class 2 wetlands and eliminates protection of ephemeral streams. This will now go back to the Senate, and I think it will pass in its current form. So I've been in discussions with Jim Meyer, our attorney, to maybe draft up an ordinance for local protection, see where we can figure something out to fill in the gaps a little bit and go from there. You know, that's part of our green infrastructure, even if most of them are on private properties. And you know, like some of what we talked about with, you know, Barclay Village, you know, a lot of those trees there, they are on private property. Those are trees that were infested with the emerald ash borer. It was a national, you know, issue and attacked all the Fraxinus genus of trees. But that brings up a point of, you know, those are outside the right-of-way, but we have a lot of green infrastructure in the right-of-way. And that green infrastructure is important. You know, includes a lot of those street trees and things like that. A lot of the BMPs that we require for stormwater and stuff that we have, you know, have had developers implement for compliance. We are the only community that has low-impact development requirements, which and nowhere in Indiana do you see that for stormwater, a requirement for stormwater. It's encouraged and things like that, but it's not required. And then you mentioned the recycled grant. One of our standards is to use recycled pipe, meaning that 60% of it is made of recycled high-density polyethylene. There's a few companies that have perfected that process of manufacturing it, and maybe some of those dollars can be directed into some projects that involve recycled pipe. So that's all I have. Thank
Well, Matt, I'd like to ask you something additional, Mr. President, if you don't mind.
Mr. White.
I also wanted to, because when I had my conversation with Matt, he kind of gave me a better understanding of the big retention basin, the 1 million gallon retention basin. Actually, I thought the flow was going in a different direction, but actually, from my understanding how this particular facility works, once that ditch fills up and it gets maxed out, then it will automatically divert to the
Overflow? Yeah.
yes. And then when the ditch goes down, then what's ever been capacity of the dry container there, it'll automatically go back into the ditch. So I think that's a good project. I don't know, Matt, when they're going to start on that. If we didn't thank the Little Calumet River Basin for the engineering that was done on it and some of the portions of the cost, I'd like to actually have us thank them for that.
Yeah, they're a good partner to have. You know, they paid for 100% of the engineering and then half of the construction costs. So, and Dyer Construction will be starting pretty soon here, within probably next 2-3 weeks. So they'll be mobilizing. So we already did some initial tree clearing and things like that to prep the site. So,
Thank you very much.
okay, thanks.
Thank you, Matt. South Shore Visitors and Convention Authority, our representative is Mr. Reardon.
Thank you, Mr. President. We last met on March 18th, and that meeting was held at the Dean and Barbara White Community Center. We had a guest speaker, and that was Mr. Rick Bella. And following the meeting, a tour took place, and as we hear, people were wowed by what's on Broadway, and congratulated the town and wish us good luck moving forward. Our next meeting is the 15th. It'll take place in Cedar Lake. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Department reports. Jan? Oh, Vicki, go ahead.
We had a company called Pro Champs that wants to do our vacant and abandoned property registrations. What they'll do is they won't charge the town anything beyond the $100 that that it costs, and they'll only, if they get the whole thing done and everything registered, then that's when they'll charge us. Otherwise, they don't charge us for it. So I thought maybe we need to raise it to another $50 for our registration so that we would get something from it. But this is basically for information so that we know who to contact for grass cutting, or if somebody breaks into the house, or, you know, if there's any kind of water problems. So there's a workshop that'll be on April 27th at 5:30 p.m. with them, and we'll see from there what you guys think. It seems to me to be a really good idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think the key, Mr. President, is that they charge $100, but they don't, the town would never be billed anything. It's only going to be, they'll collect money from the house or the real estate people or whoever. And, you know, right now, I think our fee is $100.
It's $100
Right now,
for
so we would
single
need
family.
to come up with an ordinance and increase our ordinance to $150 at least, so that at least we get $50. When they get their 100, we'll get 50. So, and they'll do all of the collecting. And all we have to do is just, they'll find out where the houses are and everything.
Like, they gather all the information. I guess they have all kinds of foreclosure things that they know about.
Well, Vicki
That's
is,
the purpose of them coming
Yeah.
to give us the proposal in 2 weeks. And if it's something that we can do, then we'll talk about it. If we say, yeah, we don't want to do it, then no harm, no foul.
sure. Is there a contract that they presented to you that we could have town attorney review?
No,
Not
they
yet?
haven't
Okay.
said anything about that.
Okay.
This is just preliminary, and so after, you know, if we need to do anything else, then that's when we'll get, Mr. Sweatnoff involved.
Okay, could you guys loop in Kelly too then? Because I'm sure there'll be some
Right, yeah.
financial
yeah.
things to work, you know.
The more the merrier, yeah.
Good.
So,
Thank you.
Any questions, Joe? You're looking.
No, not right now. Just the only thing I'm thinking about is if we can get a copy of the current ordinance regarding the establishment of those fees, though, because if I have to amend that at a later date to increase the cost,
Okay,
I can get that to you.
Vicki will
we'll
take
go
care
ahead and do that. We'll just be proactive on that.
Okay, thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Vicki.
Good evening, council.
Hi, Jan.
The Dean and Barbara White Community Center was a vaccination site. We were contacted by the state. They issued the Pfizer vaccine. Over 1,300 vaccines were given. The fortunate thing for a lot of our staff, since we were there on location, they felt that we were essential workers, so all of the extra doses they had went to employees there at the center.
Oh, that's great.
The state will be back on April 28th and 29th and 30th. So those people that received their first vaccine will be able to come and receive their second vaccine. The Dean and Barbara White Community Center held their very first tournament this past weekend. We not only had a very large volleyball tournament sponsored by Epic, but we had Pop Warner football, we had event center rentals, and we had community center rentals. Other than a couple of electrical glitches, everything went off beautifully. I'd like to thank the police department for securing the facility and helping us out with that. We had no issues or no problems. We received a lot of compliments and a lot of 5 stars from the Google app that we have. We've done a little over $3,000 in concessions that weekend as well. This weekend coming up will be our ATA karate tournament, and we're preparing for that right now. We're also getting some training in. We've contacted the fire department. We'll be doing some CPR training for all of our employees. We'll be doing Stop the Bleed training, and I just spoke with the chief on any other training that our staff should be receiving prior to us, I guess, getting busier than we currently are. And that's all I have unless anybody has any questions.
Jan, I'll just add that I was one of those people that went there Saturday, and I'll speak for Sean, because if he was here, he'd say this, that I was one of those who walked in and was wowed by the center, seeing 6 volleyball games going on all at the same time, plenty of parking. The concession stand was really busy, and it just, seeing a lot of parents around, and I did wear a Merrillville garment, and I was with Sean too, and people were just coming up to us saying, this is really a great center, and you guys really have something going on here. So congratulations to you and the council, and it looks like we do have something going on, so that's great.
Yeah, the staff did an excellent job
Yeah.
during the weekend. Thank you.
I stopped in too, Mr. President.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I stopped in Saturday afternoon.
It looked impressive, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah, exactly.
So, it's good. Mr. Markle?
Just a few little things here. Public Works Department did start the spring cleanup this past Monday, so if people call you looking for something, we are picking leaves and branches up. And after the 2-week process of this is over, we go right back into the branch pickup like last year. We're opening the north barn completely all week long because a lot of people wanted to take them there themselves. That's fine with us if they want to haul them there. They just don't want them in their grass waiting
Yeah.
for us to get around to them. So that's going to be open all summer long. Dumpsters are open for Merrillville residents during the spring cleanup to clean up their yards. Clean out their houses, whatever. The other thing is a reminder that we are hiring 2 positions for full-time employees. We had some people leave, so just letting everybody, I think everybody got notified of it, but I'm just reminding you. And we're also hiring summer kids. Our only requirement is that they're going to college. It's something we've always done for the past 30 years. If you know any summer kids looking for a job, get them in our department, fill out an application. Got a lot of work for them. That's about it.
Okay,
Any
thank you,
questions?
Kevin.
Mr. President?
Mr. White?
Yes, Kevin, I just wanted to tell you thank you for what you're doing here, specifically in the area of branch collections. But what I did notice is that seemed like that when individual homes found out you were collecting branches, I seen some pretty large stumps out there. Are we taking stumps as well, even though they're cut down to like maybe 8 inches, but the diameter is a big 12 or 13 inches so I don't know if people understand that's something, that's not branches.
No, It's
So,
all listed in that newsletter that everybody got mailed, what they can put out there for us to pick up. They're more than welcome to take it to our north barn.
okay. So they could use that as an alternative, because I think some people just trying to slide that under the wire, but if they know that's some place they can take it, I don't know how we communicate that to the community, but don't want to see those on the side of the road.
No,
So,
they've been calling our office, and we've been telling them that's their option if they're that big. They gotta bring them into us themselves.
in terms of the debris along the roadways, I know I had talked to Marge. I don't know if that's been taken care of in her area yet, but I do see now that, since the springtime, I'm seeing a lot of trash, specifically in the area of 61st and Jefferson. I seen that area last year, and it looks the same again. It's a couple of tires out there, and there's debris all along the east side of that street on 61st down to that little apartment building down there. So if you could check that out for me, I appreciate it.
I did go and look at that street,
Okay.
but we've had, ever since the snow melted, we've had guys or crews walking the ditch lines and stuff. I mean, we've done that for a couple months, just waiting to see if it's gonna snow more or we can actually start summer work. But we have been out picking up garbage, and we've picked up a lot. It just keeps showing up right
Sure.
after we leave the area, though.
Okay.
It's a nonstop process.
I just like for you to check on that for me again, because I was riding around a little bit earlier.
I did go to Jefferson Street and look at that,
Okay.
so we'll be over there.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Thank you, Kevin. Mr. King, did you have additional?
I did.
Okay.
So the local paving program the town is doing, it's, the bids come in well under budget. We had budgeted, we're bonding for $5 million. Our low bid come in at $3.74 million. So we've added a few projects to the list by contract. As the owner, we can add or decrease quantities anytime we want. Last time at the council level, we added a few streets in Councilman White's ward. This time I'd like to, a couple more additions I'd like to propose and for the council to take under consideration and maybe vote on, is for the 86th Avenue extension from Broadway going back to the west, approximately 1,330 feet. We'd like to put $350,000 aside for that project, with the remaining funds coming from the Broadway TIF to finish paying for that. Also have looked at the town hall parking lot here, paving the rear of the lot, the west side, the north side, and the south side, and restriping. Estimated around $47,000 to do that, and we'd like to seal coat the front. The pavement's still in pretty good condition, but to preserve it, we'll have our Public Works Department, Kevin and I have talked about crack sealing the lot first. Then we're gonna send out RFPs to proposals to get a price on this seal coating and striping. That's an additional $20,000, so that, with those additions, it'll bring our total estimated budget cost up for our paving program to $3,934,702.08. So we're still well under our threshold of the $5 million. So if you guys would, take that under consideration, I don't know if it has to be voted on or.
We will. I'm going to ask
Okay.
Mr. White for a motion, since we're adding some streets in Ward 7, as well as the other special projects. Mr. White, would you like to make a motion to approve the revised street paving list for 2021?
Absolutely. I'm making that motion to approve the addition of those 4 streets that was added. I'd like to also thank the council for looking at that. That area's been down for a while, so I appreciate that, and I'll be able to tell the community that they're going to have that opportunity to see some improvements in their streets.
A motion by Mr. White. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Span to approve the revised street paving list as presented by Mr. King for 2021. Questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries, Mr. White.
Thank you.
Anything else?
One other thing real quick, I was also, I did get my first vaccine at the community center, last Thursday, I believe it was. And I was also there Saturday. And to be involved in this project from planning stage before the shovels were even in the ground up until present day, to go into that facility and see the energy and the way the place was being ran, and it just amazed me. I was really proud to be a part of it. You know, Jan and I talked about it, kind of high-fived each other, and I tell you what, it was truly amazing. So that's all I got to say.
That's great. Thank you, Steve. Any other department heads? I think we covered them all. Oh, Chief, I'm sorry.
Good evening.
Chief Catino.
I'll make it brief. Hopefully next town council meeting, we had 2 new additions to the Merrillville Police Department. They go by the name of Goose and Dozer. Those are 2 canines that we just added on to the department. They're presently going through some training. Also, the North Station sign is supposed to be delivered sometime this week, and I have to check with Kevin for the training center. He was going to get a couple of signs up there at the old Cruising Center. I just got to check with you on that as well. It's on order? Yeah, I told him to go ahead and make them. Yeah. So as soon as we get those signs in place, I'll be more than happy to have you come up and take a look at your new facilities. That's all I have.
So we don't have to buy new vehicles for these dogs, right, to drive? We're good?
And just some carts.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Moving on tonight to general orders, we have a first reading ordinance, ordinance 21-08. It is an important ordinance relating to the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Madam Clerk Treasurer, you have the floor.
This is ordinance relating to the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, whereas the American Rescue Plan, ARP, as amended, was passed by the United States Senate on March 6, 2021, and the United States House of Representatives concurred in the amended bill on March 10, 2021, and the amended bill was signed by the President of the United States on March 11, 2021, and whereas on March 18, 2021, the Indiana State Board of Accounts provided both a memorandum and State Examiner Directive 2021 to provide local units of government guidance on the using of the grant proceeds. And whereas the guidance from the SBOA requires that the legislative body created ARP fund, determine appropriate uses, and provide for reference to a plan which can be revised. And whereas the Town Council has determined that the American Rescue Plan Local Fiscal Recovery Plan, Merrillville Fiscal Recovery Plan, or MFRP, or the plan, will be drafted by a committee comprised of the President of the Town Council, the Finance Committee of the Town Council, the Town Manager, the Clerk Treasurer, the Town's Municipal Advisor, and the Town Attorney, as well as the Executive Director of Stormwater Management as needed. The Merrillville Fiscal Recovery Committee will begin meeting in May of 2021 and will provide updates monthly to the Town Council. Now therefore, let it be ordained by the Town Council of the Town of Merrillville, Indiana, as follows. Section 1, the Fund 176, ARP Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, be established immediately, and that allocations from the state of Indiana and the federal government specific to the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund only will be receipted to this dedicated grant fund. And Section 2, that the monies may only be used for items represented in Section 603C of the Social Security Act as follows. Use of funds subject to paragraph 2, excluding pension funds, and except as provided in paragraphs 3 and 4 respectively. Transfer authority and transfers to states. A non-entitlement unit of local government shall only use the funds provided under a payment made under this section to cover costs incurred by the non-entitlement unit of local government by December 31st, 2024. A, to respond to the public health emergency with respect to the coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, or its negative economic impacts, including assistance to households, small businesses, and nonprofits, or aid to impacted industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality. Or B, to respond to workers performing essential work during the COVID-19 public health emergency by providing pay, providing premium pay to eligible workers of the non-entitlement unit of local government that are performing such essential work, or by providing grants to eligible employers that have eligible workers who perform essential work, or C, for the provision of government services to the extent of the reduction in revenue of such non-entitlement unit of local government due to the COVID-19 public health emergency relative to revenues collected in the most recent fiscal year of the non-entitlement unit of local government prior to the emergency, or D, to make necessary investments in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure. Section 3, that further the funds may only be used as locally first appropriated by the Merrillville Town Council, with each appropriation referencing the portion of Section 603C that is applicable, as well as the portion of the Merrillville Fiscal Recovery Plan which has been recommended by the MFRC and approved by the Merrillville Town Council.
Motion to accept ordinance 21-08.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Minchuk with a second by Mr. White for approval of ordinance 21-08 on first reading. We will add section 4, the said plan may be revised by the MFRC while still in compliance with section 603C.
And
Second page.
oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Sure did miss it.
Did you want to stand when you're speaking?
No, I need better glasses. That's what I need.
Are there any questions or comments about the motion or discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Okay.
The ordinance.
Mr. Span?
Yes.
Mr. Hardaway?
Yes.
Mr. Benchuk?
Yes.
Mrs. Uselak?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Bella?
Yes.
All in favor? Well, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
6 in favor, 1 absent. Motion carries. Thank you, council. Moving on to second readings tonight, we have ordinance 21-07. It's an ordinance of the town of Merrillville, Lake County, Indiana, authorizing additional appropriations. We voted on this at the last meeting at first reading, and this will clean it up for second reading. Madam Clerk Treasurer.
This ordinance that we discussed and read at the last meeting, we are just having to do some additional appropriations within the non-reverting fund for the Parks Department and within the Motor Vehicle Highway Restricted Fund and local roads and street funds. We realized that we needed more money than what was originally budgeted, and so that's what this is about.
Thank you. Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. White, second by Mrs. Uselak for approval of ordinance 21-07 on second and final reading. Is there any discussion from the council? Hearing none, this is a second reading ordinance. Is there any discussion from the public on this ordinance? Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Seeing none, Madam Clerk Treasurer, roll call, please.
Councilman Span?
Yes.
Mr. Hardaway?
Yes.
Mr. Benchuk?
Yes.
Mrs. Uselak?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Bella?
Yes?
All 6 in favor, 1 absent.
6 in favor, motion carries. Thank you. We have resolutions tonight, only one on the agenda, 21-18, a resolution of the town of Merrillville, Lake County, Indiana, approving appointment of appraisers and acquisition of certain real estate and all matters related thereto. Mr. Reardon.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we've discussed, there's sincere interest in properties, and by the council's approval of this resolution, we will be bringing on board 2 appraisers to assist us in identifying the purchase price. Then with the average of that purchase price, that would be the town's offer. We have 2 appraisers that we've been in discussion with.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for approval of Resolution 21-18.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Uselak, second by Mr. Minchuk for approval. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk Treasurer, roll call.
Councilman Span.
Aye.
Councilman Hardaway.
Yes.
Councilman Minchuk.
Yes.
Councilwoman Uselak.
Yes.
Councilman White.
Yes.
President Bella.
Yes.
Thank
6
you.
in favor.
6 in favor, 1 absent. Thank you. BZA actions, I'll call on Sheila Shine to help us through this. We have a Take 5 drive-through oil change. The owner is IPTL Century Plaza LLC, a special exception approval. Ms. Shine.
So Andy, could you come to the microphone in case the council have questions for you? Petitioner is requesting special exception approval from section 21-136 to allow a Take 5 oil change to be located on East 81st Avenue in a planned unit development. The petitioner seeks to build and operate a Take 5 oil change center that will perform oil changes for customers but will not provide any auto repair or maintenance service. Take 5 is a national brand with over 600 centers nationwide. Utmost importance is placed on the environmental sustainability and management. The proposed building will be approximately 1,500 square feet with a 3-lane drive-through. The proposed Take 5 development will comply with all Merrillville codes and ordinance, which includes engineering, stormwater, drainage, and ordinance from the fire department. The relevant utility providers have been confirmed that will bring water and power to the property is routine. The attached traffic study letter concludes that the development at Take 5 at this location will not adversely impact the traffic congestion. Take 5 services 30 to 50 cars per day while open for business from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday. Business is spread evenly throughout the day, unlike mealtime rush. The proposed use is one of the least intense retail uses from a traffic perspective. Take 5 is a stay-in-your-car that offers only oil change, air filter replacement, and wiper blades replacements. The model is built to provide safe services during the pandemic and post-pandemic. Petitioner is aware of the camera ordinance. Petitioner was deferred and requested to provide a new site plan and building renderings for the site. Petitioner was deferred again in February in order to discuss the project location. The petitioner was approved March 24th. For this petitioner only, at this location only, and for this use only.
Thank you, Sheila. We have a motion by Mr. Hardaway with a second by Mr. Span for approval of Take 5 Indiana drive-through oil change. Would you like to address the council before we vote?
Andy Morrison, 4351 Chase Circle, Zionsville. Ms. Shine summed it up pretty well, but Take 5 is it's a stay-in-your-car drive-through oil change service. As she mentioned, we focus almost exclusively on oil changes, and so guests remain in their vehicles for the duration of the service, which typically lasts about 10 minutes. She also mentioned our building will be aesthetically pleasing and meet all architectural requirements set forth in the Merrillville Municipal Code. And so for those reasons, along with the convenient service that we will offer the residents of Merrillville, we believe this project will result in advantageous synergies for adjacent property owners and tenants.
I want to thank you for the information you provided, including the traffic counts. That's very helpful.
Thanks.
That we could see that it's not going to be a problem in that area.
Thanks.
Or at least I don't see a problem. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk Treasurer, roll call, please.
Mr. Span.
Aye.
Mr. Hardaway.
Yes.
Mr. Minchuk.
Yes.
Mrs. Uzelak.
Yes.
Mr. White.
Yes.
Mr. Bella.
Welcome to Merrillville. Yes.
Thank you.
Carries.
So the next petitioner is Stephen Colin, owner Broadway Plaza, special exception approval for a proposed martial arts academy and fitness center. Petitioner is requesting special exception approval from Section 21-136 to allow a martial arts academy and fitness center to be located at 6055 Broadway in a C2 Community Commercial Zoning District. Petitioner received Board of Zoning Appeals approval on April 26, 2017, and Town Council approval on May 9, 2017, for a martial arts academy located at 8890 Louisiana Street. Over the past 4 years, Premier Mixed Martial Arts have grown from 2 instructors to 4 instructors. Student enrollment went from 50 to 100 students. The goal was to build a full-time academy. The new proposed location will provide the space needed for present and future students. Petitioner has been teaching students for over 21 years. He spent 8 years coaching wrestling at William A. Wirt High School in Gary, Indiana. He also has spent the last 14 years running his own martial arts academy in Portage, Indiana, Lake Station, Crown Point, and currently here in Merrillville, Indiana. Petitioner is a trained amateur and professional fighter, a licensed martial arts cornerman in the state of Indiana. Petitioner is a certified coach in the United States Wrestling, USA Boxing, and an active member of the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation. Petitioner is currently teaching children and youth and adults Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu mixed martial arts. Kickboxing. Hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., 9 a.m. to noon, and 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., and open Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. There will be approximately 4 employees, and the parking is adequate for this petitioner only, at this location only, and for this use only.
Thank you, Sheila.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Hardaway, second by Mr. Span for approval of the petitioner Stephen Cullen for the Martial Arts Academy and Fitness Center at 6055 Broadway. Open for discussion. Stephen, would you step forward and maybe take down the chief? Show us one of your moves.
No, don't do
He's got a gun.
No.
Chief, would you mind? I'm sorry.
Mr. President.
You see him,
Yeah.
He's gonna let you know if you want
A little
to.
levity. Mr. Minchuk.
I'd just like to say I'm familiar with Mr. Cologne, and he's very reputable in the world, and he's a very good trainer. I know he's run great schools in the past, and he'll be a great asset to the town.
Great. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk Treasurer, can you call the roll, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Mr. Span.
Yes.
Mr. Hardaway.
Yes.
Mr. Minchuk.
Yes.
Ms. Uzelak.
Yes.
Mr. White.
Yes,
Mr. Bella.
Yes.
6 in favor.
Congratulations. Keep growing. We'll be here
Thank
for
you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
and be careful about police officers.
Moving on tonight to old business. Is there any old business before us tonight? Hearing none. New business. Any new business for us?
Mr. President?
Mr. White.
Yes, I would like to congratulate our clerk treasurer, Kelly Gibson White. She was something like an analyst for this George Floyd situation. She was actually teaching a lot of people. I think she did Facebook Live. I was very proud of her
Thank you.
to
Yeah, watch
for that to happen. So I just wanted to give her the recognition for that today.
Thank you, I appreciate that, Leonard.
Absolutely. Also, for myself, I did get a request to speak from a Natalie Chandler. She's part of the Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated and a chapter, and they are hosting a panel discussion about police brutality and social activism. She asked me to speak with that through a Zoom conference. I met her last year. I think me and Chief was out there last year. I think you were in Cincinnati at the time when all this George Floyd stuff was going on. And that's when I met her, because I was like, she's a small woman, but she seemed pretty mighty. So I just to kind of cool things down. And I think Chief did an excellent job as well out there at that time. And that's how she thought that we made an impression on her.
Good.
So now she's asking us to. So I had to tell the council because I'm representing the council. So I just want to say that's what I'll be doing.
Represent us well.
Thank you, sir. Additionally, I did want to ask Pat again about bylaws for the council. He can't seem to find those bylaws, and I need them because that's the only way I can make a determination of what we should basically be doing mostly. I'm kind of still groping a little bit with that. So, Pat, I'm sure you'll find them somewhere. Or,
Everything's online. It's at the Indiana Code. Maybe.
yeah, I'd rather
Phil could
Pat.
help us with that.
Yeah, I don't want to search for it. I just if we can get it,
Yeah.
then he can email it to me. Then I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I got one thing, Mr. President.
Mr. Hardaway.
I forgot to mention earlier, but the bus stop that's down by Andrean, that sits on Andrean's property now, is going to be moved south to the Strack and Van Til property. Strack and Van Til and GPTC in the town, we've all come to an agreement. It's like a $30,000 move to get the shelter built and installed. And we have a federal grant, and between GPTC and the town, we're going to split $5,800 to as our, because there's a federal grant that's going to pay the biggest part of it, and then we'll pay the balance, which would cost the town $2,900, I think.
Well, you can't beat that.
So I appreciate GPTC coming back to us again, and I also appreciate Strack and Van Til's, along with the owner of that plaza, giving us permission to install the bus shelter there. And it'll help us from a safety standpoint, because now, if you ride down Broadway now, you see all of those shopping carts on Andrean's property.
Yeah.
And this way, they'll be able to keep everything on Strack and Van Til's property. So
Good.
that's in the works right now.
Very good. Thank you.
Mayor.
You can't speak until I say something, Kelly. It's very important. I can't let Kelly talk yet because we need to wish her a happy birthday. Today's Kelly's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
She didn't celebrate at all because she attended a lot of meetings today for the town, and she's here tonight at our council meeting. So I just think we should have said happy birthday. So
Oh, thank you,
enjoy the rest of your evening.
thank you.
Oh, you have the floor.
Okay. I was just going to say that, to piggyback on what Mr. Hardaway said, GPTC is really excited about that. So I know that I'm an attorney for GPTC, and they are always looking for local matches to do projects. So they're very excited about working with you and getting the local match from Merrillville to move that bus station. It's going to be really nice, too. Like, it's going to be a really nice one when they move it down closer to Strack and Van Til. And then thank you, Leonard, for if anybody does want to see it, what I've been doing is being a legal contributor on a couple of, one is a cable network called Black News Channel, and it's about the Derek Chauvin trial, which is the trial for the murder of George Floyd, commenting, giving analysis about what's happened so far in the trial. And then Rolling Out Magazine has a morning show that I've been on for the last couple of early mornings. I'll be on it again this Thursday morning, and I think this week I'll be speaking longer. And it's an analysis of what's going on in the trial and breaking it down so that lay people can understand all the things that happen with the witnesses and the motions and the judges' decisions. So that'll be this morning at 8:30. And thanks, Rick. Rick watched it in, Leonard. Thanks for y'all for supporting me.
Very good. Anything else on a new business? Hearing none. Open to the public. Is there any public comment tonight? Please approach the microphone and state your name and address for the record. And we ask that you limit your comments to 2 minutes, please.
Hi, thank you. My name is Amanda Peters. My address is 5509 Buchanan Street, Merrillville, Indiana. 46410. I stand before you on this evening in regards to the Merrillville Community Center. It is a beautiful facility, and we previously met, and I'm on behalf of Nike Indy Premier basketball AAU team. We previously met with Mr. Reardon and Mr. Pettit back in September in regards to your facility off 97th Street, but were informed that this town no longer wanted a sports facility due to the community center being built, and we were directed to Ms. Jan Orlich. And so we were told that we would be able to maybe come into some type of contractual agreement. And we understand that the court fees are $50 an hour, but we service a AAU team, youth, which is what the community center is for. And a lot of our children come from this community, have low-income families. The price that we had was $1,600 a month just to practice basketball. I think that's unfair too, where you have children who half of the families are not even at minimum wage. So what we're asking is for the town to do a contractual agreement with this team that houses the community of the students. 60 students have no central place to practice now because their parents can't afford $1,600 a month to practice. Now, it's nice to see the volleyball go there on the weekend where you have parents that are coming from other communities to service there. But what about our children here? So we're asking for a meeting to be able to come up with some sort of agreement where this is not unusual for AAU teams to have. You have Spick Fieldhouse in Fort Wayne that is ran by the AAU program, Indy Heat. You have the Pacers Athletic Facility, which is ran by the AAU team, Grand Park Premier. Finch Creek Fieldhouse is ran by Indiana Elite. You have the Hammond Sportsplex, ran by the Swarm program. You have the Courtside Deluxe, ran by Indiana Game AAU program. And we want Nike Indy Premier to be here at the Merrillville Center, where 90% of their students live in this area, in this community. And so we're asking for a meeting to be set up so that way we could come up with some sort of, maybe even if the students purchase membership, that we can just practice there. Why should we have students drive to Michigan City where their school is giving us free membership, practice to be able to go there? But that's an hour drive for us just to take, and we have to bus students. I don't think it's fair. I think it's something that we should be able to come up with and accommodate the students that live in this community and we pay taxes for. So we're asking for a meeting to be able to set up so that way we can recommit our relationship with the community center.
Sure, absolutely. We'll have a meeting.
So who do I speak with for that?
I'll take the lead on that, Mr. President.
Mr. Hardaway.
She's in my ward, so I would, give me your contact information, and I will have a conversation with Mrs. Orlich and, Mr. Minchuk and Mr. Pettit, and we'll come up with a date to meet with you and your committee, whoever you have, so that we can hash this thing out.
We appreciate that. Thank you for your time.
No problem.
Meet with you after, sir?
Yeah, as soon as this is over, just give me your contact information, and before the week's out, I will get in touch with you.
Very good. Thank you for your time, council.
Thank you for coming and making us aware of it. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
So announcements, any other public comment? Okay. Announcements, the next town council meeting is April 27th at 6:30. The redevelopment commission meeting will be April 27th at 6 o'clock, prior to the town council meeting. The plan commission meeting is April 20th at 6:30. And then we have the meetings that Mr. Hardaway announced earlier tonight. April 27th, 5:30, budget committee meeting. And then the Tuesday, April 20th at 5:30, an executive session of the Personnel Policy and Employee Benefits Committee. Is there anything else before us tonight?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 We are adjourned.
Margie,
Thank you all.
get her signature for the, I'm out of here.